Philippines is a country in the Southeast Asia that went through the hands of different colonizers during the imperialism era. It had underwent the rules of the Spaniards, the Americans, and the Japanese for centuries, only gaining its true independence in July 4, 1946. But ever wonder what was life like on this one country in the Pacific before it was conquered? In 2014, in a dig site found on Kalinga, was found artifacts and fossils that could be evidence to ancient life of the early humans in the Philippines. In the dig site was found several stone tools and animal fossils, but most importantly mammal fossils, which later on identified as the Rhinoceros philippinensis and was approximated to be 700,000 to 600,000 years old. In the fossils can be seen scars on its bones, which is hypothesized to be evident of the technology of the ancient people of Kalinga. With this discovery, it opened up conversations and possibilities to truly tracing our own roots of our lost ancestors. The artifacts and fossilized remains discovered in Kalinga are now in the custody of the National Museum, where they will undergo careful laboratory analysis. This research will provide further insights into the ancient history of the Philippines and Southeast Asia as a whole. What's the indication of this? Well, this discovery pushed back the earliest traces we have known of human activity in the land 10 times earlier than the previous discovery. The earliest known traces of human life was the Calao Man that was dated to be 67,000 years ago. To put into perspective, the earliest humans we know of, the Australopithecus, has existed approximately 2 to 4 million years ago, with the approximate age of the Kalinga fossils. It sits right about here, making this the biggest discovery in finding the Filipino roots be a step closer. The Calao Man's discovery challenged previous beliefs and suggests the presence of early humans, potentially a distinct species named Homo luzonensis, arriving in the Philippines much earlier than previously thought. Further research is needed to confirm the species' identity and uncover more about their ancient journeys and technological capabilities. However, let's compare this distinct species compared to the familiar human species we know of. So let's start with their qualities. First, they were only 4 feet tall. For reference, that is about the size of a 6-year-old child. In further examinations, it was also found that they have a curved foot bone, in which the scientists concluded that they are still climbing trees. These characteristics were distinct enough to put it to the already big branch of Homo family. But why is this discovery so important? Well, for the first time, the Philippines is now part of the major history of evolution.
Nailagay ang Pilipinas sa realm ng human evolution. Kasi dati, hindi man lang nababanggit ang Pilipinas.
I was actually very surprised, no? With the impact. We were actually very surprised, even in university. But it also placed the Philippines as part of that evolutionary debate, that we can be able to contribute to this debate. Definitely put us in a scientific map.
The discovery of early human remains in the Philippines reveals a rich history dating back thousands of years. Fossils found in Balabok Rock Shelter and Tabon Cave, dating from 5,000 to 8,000 years ago, show evidence of ancient human habitation and advanced technology. Dr. Robert B. Fox's excavation in Tabon Cave unearthed Homo sapien fossils, stone tools, and evidence of cooking fires dating as far back as 7,000 to 22,000 BCE, marking the Stone Age presence in the Philippines. The discovery of Tabon Man, estimated at 16,500 years old, was later surpassed by an even older find in the same cave, dating back 40,000 years. However, the Calao Man, discovered in 2007 and dated to 67,000 years old, significantly predates early assumptions about human occupation in the Philippines and the Asia-Pacific region. These discoveries shed light not only on the Philippines' history, but also on the broader Southeast Asian region, offering insights into our earliest human ancestors in this part of the world. The Angona region in Rizal hides an important piece of our prehistoric origins. Discovered in 1965 by the national artist of the Philippines, Botong Francisco, by complete accident, it is considered the oldest known petroglyphs in archipelago. Inside the cave was found 127 human and animal figures in the limestones and was believed to be part of a medical ritual wherein it involves the carvings to serve as a receiver of any illnesses the humans residing there had. Here are some of the real pictures of the carvings. It is believed that the people who carved this used these petroglyphs to transfer any sickness a human body have to the cold limestones of a huge rock wall. The petroglyphs seem to be dated from the New Stone Age period or before 2000 BCE. While it is great to be able to see the oldest petroglyphs of the archipelago, it is now in danger to be completely erased from existence as the carvings sit on a soft soil and is expected to be completely eroded in the future. The rocks in the caves are really sensitive that it has a risk of completely breaking if it was taken to be preserved in a museum. So while it's there, appreciate the works of art our ancestors did. With the discovery though, it proves that as early as the Neolithic period, there were a group of Homo sapiens already that are practicing rituals and is able to carve figures into a stone that, although seems to have been mostly unrecognizable now due to erosion, still stood the test of time for us to ponder and wonder what the lives of these men that resided in Angona were like.
Since the area has been cleared, so it is now prone to weathering. So one issue is, do we bring back the trees in the area to protect it?
That is the common end of all life in this planet. And in our modern world, we value life so much that we make sure that those lives don't go easily forgotten either through giving them a memorial, a funeral, or a graveyard. That is the same case for the ancient people in the Philippines. Approximately 3,000 years ago, the ancient people in Palawan practiced protecting the remains of deceased humans by storing their remains in a jar. At the top of the lid of the jar is a figure of seemingly two men in a boat steering in the waters. This represents the journey of the human soul in the afterlife. The front figure being the dead with his arms crossed while the man steering the paddle seems to be death itself guiding the soul to the afterlife. The boat represents the bridge of life and death. Through the discovery, we now know that ancient people gave as much respect as we do nowadays still to the fallen deceased ones, and that they always had valued human life. And the same goes for the Maitum potteries that were discovered in Maitum, Sarangani in Mindanao. It's the same concept for manunggul jars but with a different approach in respecting the dead. In the lid, it appears to be a handmade pottery of the human inside the jar. It is creatively handmade with its face presumably expressing the sadness of leaving this realm and ascending to become a spirit. The features of the human in the lid can also represent the gender and age of the deceased based on its maturity and reproductive parts. As it was already theorized that the Asian tribes and civilizations had already established trades way before the colonizers came to introduce the galleon trade in the 14th century. The discovery of artifacts of the Kalanay cave in Masbate proves to strengthen the case as the artifacts found of the Sayun culture, which is puzzling since how would an artifact of the Vietnamese culture reach the Philippines? Unless a trade happened. The Sayun-Kalanay interaction spear is defined a trading network in the Iron Age, which seems to be the only plausible explanation. The pottery also showed great variations in size, shape, and decoration, some of which are plain, while some are incised with tools. It is wonderful that many evidences proves the existence of life in the Philippines way before it enters the age of colonization, and there's much more we do not know. Some might have been buried deep in our soil, or some might have not stood the test of time for us to know. But the fact that the discoveries are being updated from time to time shows that the origin of the ancient people in the Philippines is not clear yet, which means the Filipinos have yet to know their true forgotten identity. that is it for the prehistoric Philippines. Thank you for watching.